The girl on the last train. The fluorescent lights of Shinjuku Station hum with a low, electric buzz. Ren Takeda stands alone on the platform, his tie loosened and his eyes heavy with the weight of another 12-hour shift. The city around him is a sea of cold concrete and fading echoes. The last train slides into the station like a silver ghost cutting through the midnight air. Its yellow headlights illuminate the dust motes dancing in the silence. Ren steps into the nearly empty carriage, the smell of ozone and old upholstery greeting him. He sinks into a seat, leaning his forehead against the cool glass of the window. Outside, the blurred lights of Tokyo streak past, a kaleidoscope of distant lives he doesn't belong to. In the reflection, his own face looks like a stranger's, tired, pale, and drifting. A soft sound breaks his trance. A small leather card case has slipped from his lap and landed near a pair of polished shoes. A woman's hand reaches down, her fingers slender and steady as she picks it up. "You dropped this," she says, her voice as calm as a midnight snowfall. Ren looks up to see Mio, a woman with a gentle presence that seems to soften the harsh train lights. He offers a quiet thanks, feeling a sudden, strange warmth in the empty car. The nights begin to blur together into a new routine. Every time Ren boards the 12:15 train, Mio is there, sitting in the same corner of the same car. They share small conversations about the weather, the smell of rain, or the way the city looks when everyone else is asleep. Ren finds himself looking forward to the end of the day for the first time in years. The heavy silence of his apartment feels lighter now, filled with the memory of her soft laughter. The last train is no longer a symbol of his exhaustion, but a sanctuary. But as the days pass, small details begin to feel out of place. He notices Mio never carries a phone, and she never looks at a watch. She simply sits and stares out into the darkness, as if she is waiting for something that hasn't happened yet. "Where do you usually get off?" Ren asks one night, his curiosity finally surfacing. Mio smiles, but her eyes remain fixed on the dark tunnel walls. "A little further than most," she replies vaguely, where the lights finally decide to fade. The train rounds a sharp curve, and Ren catches a glimpse of her in the window glass. His heart skips a beat. Her reflection moves to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear, but the real Mio hasn't moved at all. By the time he blinks, the reflection is perfectly in sync again. The train slows down for her stop, the brakes screeching like a distant animal. Mio stands up, offering him a final, lingering look that feels both peaceful and profoundly sad. "Good night, Ren," she whispers, stepping out into the shadows of the platform. Ren rushes to the window, his breath fogging the glass as he tries to read the station name. He needs to know where she goes, who she is. But just as his eyes find the sign, the overhead light flickers and dies, plunging the platform into total darkness. The train pulls away, leaving him alone in the silence. The memory of the darkened platform clings to Ren Takeda like the smell of stale tobacco. At his desk, he ignores his spreadsheets, instead sketching the vague silhouette of the station sign he couldn't quite read. The mystery feels like a splinter in his mind, sharp and impossible to ignore. When the last train arrives tonight, Mio is already there, her hands folded over a book she isn't reading. Ren sits across from her, the rhythmic clacking of the wheels filling the silence between them. He finally gathers the courage to ask about the place where she disappeared into the dark. "Places have memories too, Ren," she says, her voice drifting like smoke through the empty carriage. "Sometimes a place is forgotten by the world, but it refuses to forget itself." She looks toward the window, her eyes reflecting a landscape of shadows that shouldn't be there. Ren feels a chill that has nothing to do with the train's air conditioning. He asks her why she travels this specific line, at this specific hour, every single night. She simply smiles and says that some people are just commuters between what was and what will never be again. The next morning, Ren ignores his alarm and heads straight to the city archives. He pulls up every digital map of the Chuo line, tracing the tracks pixel by pixel with a trembling finger. Between the two stations he knows well, there is only a long, empty stretch of forest and tunnel. He finds an old physical transit map from the late 90s tucked inside a dusty local history book. There, marked in a faded ink that seems to be vanishing, is a tiny dot labeled Komorebi Station. It is a stop that was officially decommissioned and erased from the records over a decade ago. Driven by a compulsion he can't explain, Ren takes the afternoon off and travels to the edge of the city. He gets off at the nearest active station and begins walking along the rusted perimeter fence of the tracks. The summer heat is heavy, and the chirping of cicadas sounds like a warning. He pushes through a break in the foliage and finds a path of cracked concrete hidden beneath a layer of dead leaves. The air here is unnaturally still, smelling of damp earth and ancient iron. He realizes he is standing on the approach to the station that shouldn't exist. The platform is a ruin of buckled wood and climbing ivy, a ghost of the vibrant place it must have once been. The sun filters through the canopy in jagged shards, illuminating the dust that hangs motionless in the air. There are no sounds of trains here, only the whispering of the wind. He walks to the center of the platform, where a rusted metal sign hangs precariously from a single bolt. He brushes away the grime and moss, revealing the name, Komorebi. This is the place where Mio stepped out into the night, the place the world decided to forget. Near the exit, a glass-enclosed notice board stands shattered and weathered by years of storms. Behind the cracked glass, a few tattered papers remain, their edges curled and yellowed. Ren leans in, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. A faded missing person poster stares back at him, dated 15 years ago. The girl in the photograph is wearing a high school uniform, but her serene, knowing smile is unmistakable. Below her face, the name is printed in bold black letters, Mio. The fluorescent hum of the municipal archives is the only sound as Ren Takeda digs through the city's forgotten history. He sifts through boxes of incident reports, his fingers stained with the dust of the early 2000s. Somewhere in these microfiche reels, the truth about the girl from the train is waiting to be uncovered. He finally finds the headline, "High school student vanishes without a trace at Komorebi Station." The date on the report confirms his fears. She has been missing for 15 years. There were no witnesses, no struggle, and the investigation was closed when the station itself was decommissioned. Following a lead from the records, Ren tracks down Saburo, a retired station attendant who still lives near the old tracks. They sit on a weathered bench overlooking the overgrown valley where the trains no longer run. Saburo's eyes are clouded with age, but his memory of that final autumn remains sharp. "I remember her clearly because she was there every evening, waiting for someone who never arrived," Saburo whispers. He describes how the girl would watch every passing carriage with a hope that slowly turned into a permanent, quiet grief. Eventually, the station grew cold, and one night, she simply wasn't on the platform anymore. That night, Ren boards the last train once again, but the air inside the carriage feels heavy and pressurized. The city lights outside the window begin to smear into long, ghostly streaks of white and violet. He is the only passenger left, yet he feels 1,000 eyes watching him from the corners of the car. The intercom crackles to life with a burst of static that sounds like a distant, distorted sob. A mechanical voice, sounding decades old, announces a stop that appears on no modern map. "Next station, Komorebi. Please watch your step as you depart into the memory." As the train slows to a crawl, Rin notices a small metallic object sliding across the floor toward his feet. It is an old-fashioned locker key attached to a piece of twine. Tucked into the ring is a folded scrap of paper, the ink fresh, despite the smell of age. He unfolds the note with trembling hands, finding a single sentence written in elegant, feminine script. "Please remember I was here," it reads, the plea cutting through Ren's heart like a physical blade. He knows now that he cannot simply go home. He has been summoned to the end of the line. The train doors hiss open at the ruins of Komorebi Station, releasing a scent of damp earth and lilies. Ren steps out onto the buckled platform, the rusted roof groaning under the weight of the moonlight. He follows the path toward the station's exit, where a row of derelict lockers stands like sentinels in the dark. He finds locker number 104, its metal surface pitted with rust and choked by climbing ivy. The key fits perfectly into the lock, turning with a heavy, satisfying click that echoes through the silent valley. As the door swings open, a thick layer of dust falls away to reveal a single, leather-bound notebook. He pulls the notebook from its dark resting place, noticing that the leather is cool and remarkably preserved. The air around him seems to vibrate with the hum of a train that isn't there. With a held breath, he opens the cover, the spine creaking in the absolute stillness of the night. The paper is filled with dates and times, a meticulous log of every train that passed through the station years ago. On the very first page, written in the same hand as the note, is a single entry dated long before they ever met. It simply says, "Today, I am waiting for Ren Takeda." Ren sits in the dim light of the abandoned station site, staring at the notebook. His own name, written in ink that faded years before he ever took this train, feels like a weight in his hands. The air is still, smelling of dry earth and old iron, as the city's distant hum fades into the background. He flips through the pages, finding fragments of a life interrupted. There are sketches of the Tokyo skyline, a pressed flower that has turned the color of parchment, and ticket stubs to movies that finished their runs a decade ago. Each item is a quiet testament to a girl who once waited for a future that never arrived. Mio wasn't a ghost or a legend. She was a girl who liked the smell of rain and the quiet of the city at 2 a.m. Ren realizes that the connection between them doesn't need a logical explanation to be real. He understands now that his name wasn't written as a summons, but as a promise that someone would eventually find her. The next morning, Ren takes the items to the local district office, ensuring Mio's name is recorded in the archives. A clerk named Kazuki accepts the materials with a solemn nod, processing the documents that will officially bridge the gap in the city's records. He refuses to let her remain a missing person lost to time. He gives her back her history. Walking through the crowded streets of Shinjuku, Ren notices the world again. He had been moving through his life like a shadow, disconnected from the pulse of the people around him. But Mio's memory has forced him to finally wake up, turning the gray blur of the commute into a vibrant tapestry of living stories. That night, he boards the last train one final time. The carriage is nearly empty, the fluorescent lights humming a low, steady tune as the city lights blur into streaks of gold and white outside the window. He feels a sense of completion, a quiet gravity pulling him toward the end of the line. Mio is sitting in her usual spot, looking out at the darkness. She looks softer tonight, less like a mystery, and more like a traveler reaching the end of a very long journey. The cold, ethereal glow that usually surrounds her has been replaced by a warmth that matches the hum of the train. Ren sits across from her, and for a moment, they just share the silence. The rhythmic clicking of the tracks is the only thing filling the space between them. "I've found your things," he says quietly, his voice steady. "I made sure they won't be forgotten. You have a place in the world again." Mio turns to him, a faint, gentle smile touching her lips, the first real smile Ren has seen from her. "Thank you for not looking away," she whispers, her voice sounding like the rustle of leaves. "I only wanted someone to know I was here. I was afraid I had simply vanished into the air." The train slows down as the announcement calls out a station name Ren has never heard, Tasogare, the Twilight Platform. The doors slide open to a station bathed in a soft silver light that feels like moonlight, despite the sun not being up. It is a place between worlds, beautiful and still. Mio stands up and walks toward the door, pausing just for a second to look back at Ren. She doesn't say anything, but the air feels as if a clock that had been stopped for years has finally started ticking. She steps out onto the platform, her form becoming one with the silver light. The next morning, Ren stands on the platform under a clear blue sky, watching the sunrise hit the skyscrapers. The train he just stepped off is a normal morning commuter, filled with the energy of the new day. He is no longer looking at the ground. He looks forward, ready to live the life that Mio never could.
If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe and leave a comment. Your support really helps me create the next episode faster. Thank you and thanks for watching.